ripe, but he buried it for those peaches. June asked what he needed to bring. The monkey replied, he should go forward and come across a big pile of junk. There will be a box. That's what he needs. The box was about 6 miles away, not that far. June said he'd be back soon. Meanwhile, deep in the dungeon sat a strange robot, and hunters stood nearby. The leader of the Black Dragon Guild, Jill, told them not to be afraid. There is always a way out. The one guild may have outshone them by clearing the abyss, but if they could defeat this boss, they would be ahead of them. And they will take the place of the best guild, thought Jill, and ordered to attack the boss. The hunters were afraid. Suddenly the robot rose to its feet and growled loudly. Then the hunters became even more frightened and asked how they could defeat him. The men in the jacket ordered them to stop grumbling and stand in their places. Anyone who ran away would be killed. The hunters complained about the poor quality of their weapons, and one man came out and ordered them to take their places. The man asked Jill if she really thought they could make it work. Jill replied, who knows? And June was driving through the forest when he heard this noise. Even the monsters ran away. Then he decided to check what was there. The magician asked if she could protect them. He didn't come here to fight at all. The girl replied that if they got out of here alive, the guild's reputation would skyrocket. Then the man hit the guy, and Jill said, they came to help her clean up. It's not that hard. And the other hunters continued to fight with the strong boss of the dungeon. When they knocked him down, they began to rejoice that they had survived. But then the robot rose again and even transformed, and the second round began. Suddenly to the dungeon, he said at this rate it would be possible to travel around the entire province. The man appeared at the entrance and Dean asked where he came from. The man told him to watch his language. But upon recognizing Dean, he himself fell silent. Dean realized that this was another rat of the Black Dragon and passed by. He wondered if they had bribed the people from the association to so, they want to kill the boss of this dungeon. Dean decided that he should warn them about the danger. The 9th robot becomes truly enraged when it enters the second phase. Jun was scared when he saw the robot. Even with this suit, he couldn't handle it, he thought. Suddenly, he saw Jill and recognized her. Even June knew she was dangerous. The magician asked to let him go. He promised that he would fight with everyone. But the man jumped on the robot and let the guy go. The magician screamed that he would burn, but the man only laughed. Then Jun couldn't stand it and quickly ran there and hit that scoundrel. Then he grabbed the guy and asked him if the guy was okay. The guy thanked him and advised him to run away as quickly as possible. Jun realized he was trapped. He could just grab the box and run. He let the guy go and said that he couldn't just stand there and watch himself get killed. Jun thought, it's not that guy's fault that they tried to kill him. It's those who tried to do it to him who are to blame. Since things were going downhill, Jun thought he had no choice but to fight. Jill was furious because they were close to winning. The bald man asked what orders he had should he gather the archers. Jill replied, no. First of all, you need to collect firewood, the key to defeating the 9th robot at the moment of transition. He would be paralyzed for a short time like this. All they could do was throw the victim into his fiery core. Suddenly the man told Jill to look ahead. Jun flew up and then, noticing a strange dent, decided to hit it there. But this was a bad idea, as it would only awaken the robot's next phase. She shouted to the archers to stop him immediately, and they all started shooting at him. Jun didn't understand why they wanted to kill him and avoided them as best he could. He wondered why they were so stubborn. They fired so many arrows that it was as if this golem had hair. Suddenly this robot went crazy and caught fire. Jill said that they were finished. The second phase ended. The robot raised its leg and stepped on all the hunters. The entire army disappeared in an instant. The man asked Jill what they should do, but Jill remained silent. The girl thought that they could no longer do anything. They would all be turned to ashes. But June was still alive and didn't stop attacking that monster. And so June managed to kill the dungeon boss alone, and Dean saw it. He thought it was a simple courier. Dean felt a disposition due to the fact that they had a similar fighting style. He never thought that he would meet this courier here. He decided to bring him to the guild today. Jill said she never thought that this loser could defeat the dungeon boss. The man asked what they should do. Jill replied that as soon as the dust settled, he should find it. He clearly put a lot of effort into defeating this monster. The guy will answer for interfering with the raid of the Black Dragon Guild. Then Dean came running and said that they were luring a newbie into their guild to sacrifice him. Jill told the people to prepare for battle. It was their enemy from the one guild. Dean thought he had appeared in front of them with such pomp, but there were many more of them than he thought. Suddenly the guy ran up to Jill and said they had a problem. The man in the helmet had disappeared. June rode back and thought that he had already decided that this would be his last adventure. He almost woke up on Olympus, but not because he successfully made the delivery. Although if he had died, he would have ended up in another place. Why did he have to interfere and help a stranger? He's not even a hunter. While he was thinking that he would not do this anymore, suddenly a mountain opened up before him. He asked if the dungeon had disappeared because he had killed the boss. The gates, which no one had cleared for a long time, materialized in the dense world in the form of dungeons, and it was possible to enter there again and again. But passes were given only to carefully checked hunters. But this time, it wasn't even a hunter who cleared the dungeons, and even less an ordinary courier. Then June thought about why he had just risked his life. The monkey said that June came back quickly. June replied that if he only knew what he had to go through. Then the monkey asked him to calm down. June shouted. He said that what he was looking for was just a pile of scrap metal. But the pile of scrap metal turned out to be a huge robot golem, and it also had a laser beam. The monkey asked. June is sure that he did not provoke him. The robot is not inclined to move. Jun thought that if those people from the Black Dragon Guild hadn't shown up there, he wouldn't have had to go through this horror. The Black Dragon villains made Jun so angry that he wanted to hit each and every one of them. The monkey said, it seems the boy couldn't get his box, but June replied that he got it. The monkey asked how. June replied that he broke his head. Jun asked what was in it. It looked like a regular box that was often used. Suddenly the monkey began to laugh madly and say, in the sky he almost killed this monster. But now an ordinary mortal finished him off single-handedly. He asked the guy's name. June said his name. Then the monkey shot at the box. And she got out of the mountain. A large smoke of dust rose up, and June noticed that a staff came out of the box. The monkey said that now he was in debt to Jun. Who knows how many more years he would have been stuck in the mountain. Then he sat on a cloud and hurried away before the emperor found him. Jun shouted at him to stop for a minute. He didn't care that he was leaving, but the Monkey King didn't pay him. Suddenly a bag flew at Jun, and the Monkey King said that he had already paid him, and in this bag there was a small reward for his efforts, and then the king said goodbye. At home, Jun was watching the news, and they were talking about the Black Dragon's tactics during the attack on the boss. Jun, who witnessed this himself, scolded them, calling them bastards. The guy appeared on the screen. Here are a few words from the rookie hunter who was present at the scene. They were all deceived. No one warned them that they would have to fight the boss. There was a man wearing a helmet, and he saved him just as he was about to be thrown into the fiery pit. Jun himself thought he was finished when he suddenly started moving forward. Fortunately, he kept his identity a secret and saved people. Although what was more important to this guy was his salary. He earned 70,000 from this delivery, and it felt like after the fight with the monster he deserved more. But if you translate all this into real money, it comes to a whole 700 million won. He also received a special reward, the locks of a stone monkey. If you blow on them, you can summon a clone of the Monkey King for a moment. Jun was happy with this gift. Lately he often walks on a knife edge. He goes into the depths of the dungeons and faces all the monsters. Even though it was just a clone of the Monkey King, Jun thought it wouldn't be out of place. Suddenly he received a notification about a new delivery request. Then the guy quickly got dressed and decided to work hard for the awards today too. Sam ran into Dean's room, and upon entering, he immediately asked if he was okay, and Dean asked if Sam wasn't supposed to be in Busan. He replied that he couldn't stay there for that long, especially considering the fact that Dean was there because of him. Dean replied that it wasn't his fault. He should have assessed the situation himself beforehand. But Sam was still angry at the Black Dragon. They really tried to pull a hunter from the one guild for themselves. He shouldn't have underestimated their abilities. He should have sent Irene with him. He decided that next time he would deal with this guild himself. Sam asked how Dean was. Dean replied, "The doctor said the situation wasn't very good." Sam was already scared when Dean replied that he was just joking. He was told the fracture wasn't that bad. Did Sam really think he would retire because of a couple of injuries? Sam asked if the scooter courier had dealt with the boss. Dean replied that he had seen it himself. He didn't even use weapons, just fistfights. Dean was proud that they were similar. Then Dean asked if they had found the guy. Sam replied that they had searched the entire area but hadn't found him anywhere. They tracked him on camera as he entered the alley, and then he seemed to disappear. And June at this time returned to Olympus. He went to Hephaestus and said hello. But Hephaestus didn't hear him, so June decided to wait until he finished. The sudden heat made him feel sleepy, as if he were back in his mother's arms. When suddenly Hephaestus asked him what he was doing there. June got scared and asked why Hephaestus became his mother. Hephaestus just laughed. Then he said that today's delivery would take quite a long time. Jun immediately thought that they usually charge extra for this type of delivery. And he replied that he was ready to travel around the entire globe for a decent sum. Hephaestus gave him the staff and said that he had just used the heavenly steel that he had asked for. "It needs to be done today," Jun asked where he should deliver it. Hephaestus replied, "To the pyramids such a June, of course, did not expect." He asked if it wouldn't be easier to send it by parcel, and in general, how the pyramids relate to Greek mythology. Hephaestus replied that his services are sought after not only on Olympus. June accepted the order and was already thinking of buying tickets to Egypt, but then Hephaestus stopped him. The customer he delivers to is picky, so he hired an assistant, Juno. The girl said that she was here on Cupid's orders. Her name was Lucy. She came to serve Hephaestus. June worried in vain. The pyramid is located within Olympus, so there is no need to fly to Egypt. He thought the delivery would be easy, but Lucy kept screaming. Lucy screamed that she had been deceived. She was supposed to be helping Hephaestus, not riding with the little man. June wondered why Hephaestus had assigned this annoying child to him in the first place. An hour ago, June was silently looking at Lucy. Hephaestus asked if he thought she would be of no use to him. Lucy told him to have some manners and not to look down on Lucy. Hephaestus said it wasn't that he didn't trust him, but he couldn't deny that he didn't know much about mythology. But Lucy is very knowledgeable about everything. She will help him a lot. Lucy complained that she was bored and why she had to do all this to help a person. June said if she didn't want him to leave her with the delivery, she should sit quietly. And Hephaestus will say that she has fulfilled her task? Lucy asked. Is he trying to tarnish Lucy's honor? When Lucy was in high school, she skipped 2 grades. She then continued her studies at the most prestigious university. Lucy became an elite nymph, so that a person did not dare to tell her what to do, when suddenly June threw her a candy. And he will give more if she sits quietly and doesn't stick her head out. Lucy really liked the candy. She said she hoped he wasn't lying when he said he would give her more. And June replied that he kept his word. He knew that the way to a child's heart is through the stomach, and now he can finally concentrate on the road. They arrived and Lucy said that as she promised, she was silent, so he should give her candy. June asked why she didn't warn him about the danger ahead. Lucy replied that he himself told her to keep quiet. Suddenly, the Sphinx told the uninvited guest that if he wanted to pass, he had to solve his riddle. Lucy screamed, "This terrible monster asks a riddle to everyone, and devours whole those who answer incorrectly." The Sphinx is a relative of Typhon, the beast that once slew Zeus and nearly destroyed Olympus. Of course, the Sphinx is not as strong as its relative, but still. And June isn't a legendary hero, so you shouldn't go against him with just a nymph. It feels like he is going to his death. His intuition tells him that blows are useless against him. But June doesn't have time to think either, so he came up with something. Lucy asked where he was going. June replied that he was going to solve his riddle. Then Lucy said he would swallow it. If June made a mistake, he would die in the churning stomach. June replied that he would not die. The guy was not that stupid. Everyone knew his riddle. She's so popular that it's impossible to be wrong. But June is unlikely to solve any other riddles. In case something goes wrong, he has a lock of the Monkey King's hair with him. The Sphinx asked if he was ready to solve the riddle. June replied that he did not have much time, so hurry up. Lucy burst into tears and decided that she needed to solve the riddle. The Sphinx began to ask a riddle, and June thought that he would ask one about a man. June was sure that he would ask this very riddle and was thinking about how to quickly answer it. But then the Sphinx asked a completely different riddle. What sound does a duck make when it falls? June's reaction was indescribable. The boy only wanted to say human when he heard this stupid riddle. Lucy was crying because she wasn't sure of the answer, and someone was watching them. June thought what kind of riddles this was. It looked like a stupid joke. The answer was so obvious. Although no, it was the Sphinx, June thought. This question could have an unexpected catch. However, June seemed to have overestimated this Sphinx, who, embarrassed, gave him 3 minutes to figure it out. Lucy screamed that even Lucy, the mega elite, had no idea what the answer was. Now this Sphinx will eat Lucy, all because of this stupid man. She remembered asking the professor if the riddles of the Sphinx were really difficult. He answered before Oedipus could solve the riddle of the Sphinx, which had already swallowed several hundred people. Lucy asked, so the professor couldn't guess his riddle. The professor replied that even the dean couldn't. If she met the Sphinx, let her run away. Lucy was crying because she thought they wouldn't solve the riddle, when suddenly June gave the answer, "Quacko." She started screaming at him how he could have wasted their only chance so ineptly. But suddenly the Sphinx began to laugh and replied that the answer was correct. Lucy got angry and asked how this answer could be correct. What nonsense. The Sphinx said that he praised the alien for solving the riddle. June also got angry and told him to shut up and move away and let him come up with something smarter. This is kindergarten. He asked the Sphinx why she was crying, and the Sphinx replied that she just had sand in her eyes. The quest with the Sphinx has been successfully completed. The Sphinx is named Behemoth. It must be tamed like a cat. June told Lucy to hold on tight because he was getting faster now. When they were almost there, Lucy decided to say goodbye for her words. She was supposed to help him along the way, but all she did was condemn him for being human. And she doesn't deserve to be called mega elite. June replied that she has nothing to reproach herself for. At his job as a courier, He sometimes heard such things that her words did not affect him at all. June feels like it's vacation and he's babysitting his sister. They came to the pyramid and June said that he did not expect the pyramid to be so big. Lucy pointed to the box and said that it said, "If there is no guard, ring the bell." June pressed the button. Suddenly everything lit up and the earth began to disappear. Lucy said it was gravity magic. Then they both fell into the cave. June was surprised that he survived such a fall. It turned out that he fell on poor Lucy. Then they wandered around the cave. June felt like he was on some kind of quest in the dungeon. Lucy asked June to direct the shining piece of metal here. There were frescoes there. Lucy said she had heard of some evil goddess who liked to kidnap nymphs and torture them. These frescoes must have been created by her ancestors to tell of the terrible crimes committed against her people. June didn't see any crimes in these pictures. In fact, it looked more like a holiday. Lucy said that you meet your enemy when you least expect it. She will avenge the suffering of her ancestors. June said that there is no revenge today. There is a client here. Suddenly the girl said, for the sake of revenge, they crept into the goddess's house, little rude people. The light is so blinding that June can't even see who's in front of them. Lucy flew towards the girl, screaming that her ancestors would be avenged. June wondered why this child was so impulsive. Why did he attack right away? The girl said how long it had been since she had seen someone like Lucy, and hugged her tightly. Lucy screamed to be let go. The girl said that a long time ago she invited nymphs here and arranged holidays for them. Unfortunately, they are no longer there. June asked if they had died of suffocation in her arms. The girl said that she can't stop herself. She always behaves like this when she sees something cute. Lucy said she almost killed her and June just stood by. They started arguing. Lucy screamed that he told her. She was like a sister to him. Why didn't he protect his sister? Then the girl introduced herself. She is the ruler of the two richest and sunniest countries. The priestess of all the temples of Egypt. The divine embodiment of the mountain. The all-powerful falcon. Her name is Pharaoh. June said he thought pharaohs were the kings of Egypt. Lucy called him ignorant. There are two types of gods and goddesses in this world. There are those like Cupid and Hephaestus. They were born as gods. And there are those who have achieved divinity during their lifetime. June said they had brought a delivery. Pharaoh replied that she had been following them the whole way. She took her staff and said that the work was excellent and the shape perfect. The courier lives up to his reputation, and June didn't even know he had a reputation. And this means you can ask for more money, he said so directly. Lucy said he was disgusting. Did he really have to act like a greedy merchant? June replied that he would use the money to buy the candies that she liked so much. Then Lucy also joined him and asked for money. Pharaoh said it was nice to see him making friends with this small people. She paid him for his work, a total of 19 billion won. Lucy said that she helped him, so he should give her some candy. June replied that he bought the entire candy store for her and might even open a confectionery factory. Pharaoh said that since they were leaving, they could exit through the main entrance, not through this tunnel. It's over. It's nostalgic for her to come down here, but she's already kind of tired of receiving couriers in the basement. June asked if this was the main entrance. Pharaoh replied that it was the spare one. The delivery to the pyramid completed, June returned to Hephaestus, terribly tired. He woke Lucy up and said that they had already arrived. Lucy couldn't even open her eyes. June told her that they had come to the forge of Hephaestus. Then Lucy thanked him for the adventure. Once they have completed the delivery, it is time to say goodbye. June replied that he had fun with her too, even though she chatted a lot. Then they started arguing again, both laughing. Lucy joked that she would never work with him again. Hephaestus said, his stars, the client has nothing but enthusiastic words about them. If so, maybe they will work in pairs, and at that moment they started arguing again. Later, Lucy woke up June and he shouted at her what she was doing there. Then he remembered that he couldn't refuse Hephaestus, and he had to unite with this child. June asked why she woke him up. Lucy replied that the noise there just wouldn't stop. It was a delivery, but these were regular orders. A week passed, and he was back to work. Lucy asked if everything was okay. June replied that nothing special. But Lucy was capricious and wanted to know what was the matter. June decided he had to say he was quitting, so he picked up the phone. His boss immediately started yelling at Jun, asking why the hell he wasn't taking orders. Jun should have been grateful that he wasn't fired. He was lucky that he was just suspended. Then June got really angry and shouted that he was quitting. The man said he would blacklist him and June would not be able to find a job. He is tired of these angry threats. It is not surprising that even the hair is running off his bald head. Then June invited Lucy to go out to eat. He finally quit. Sam asked his subordinate. Yesterday he also couldn't be found. Captain Steve replied. They searched every corner. None of them could notice either the scooter or the helmet. If his scooter is so hard to track, maybe he realized he was being followed and changed his number. Steve asked if they should continue searching. Sam replied that they couldn't waste their energy like that. Things are not going well in Busan either. A detachment of 6 A ranks sent on a raid has retreated. A month ago, a portal appeared on the beach. When the association contacted them, he immediately realized that clearing this dungeon would not be easy. But he didn't think that 6 A ranks would be enough. But he knows what to do. Sam told the guy to tell Irene and the first squad to start preparing to leave. He will once again show everyone why they are considered the best guild in the country. June ate with Lucy, wanting to see the manager's face when he said he was quitting. Lucy ate noodles quickly. June asked her to eat more slowly, otherwise she would stain all her clothes. She admired the food and Jun said it was just a bowl of noodles. After they ate, they went out. People started saying that he was a bad father. June thought that it seemed like he really had a daughter. People started talking about how you can live in a tiny apartment with a child. He decided that since they would now have to live together, it would be worth looking for a bigger apartment. June asked if they could move in. Lucy was happy, and June asked why she was so upset. Lucy said she wanted to move into the palace and pointed to the building. June asked if she at least knew how much it cost. Lucy asked if he had money. Then June decided that it was worth buying an apartment. They came to that building. The building is new, so it looks gorgeous. Lucy has already fallen in love with this apartment. The woman said the current owner would be able to move out in 2 weeks, and the rent was about $200,000 a month. June thanked the man and said that he would like to look at other apartments. Buying the first place he came across wasn't very smart, so he called Lucy and said it was time for them to go. Lucy was unhappy. June said that he had not yet decided to buy this apartment. On the way out, they met Irene. Later, Lucy was eating and June couldn't stop rejoicing that he had bought a house on the very first day of searching. After a whole day of searching for an apartment, he finally settled on the building he saw first. He bought the apartment at a price well below market value, but something still worries him. June remembered how they ran into that girl and thought he had seen her somewhere. Then June remembered that he had seen her among the hunters in the dungeon. The helmet covered half of his face, so she probably didn't know him. June asked why he wasn't getting any new orders. Lucy asked if they hadn't finished yet. Then the guy replied that there was nothing new in 2 days. Lucy said, 2 days is not so much. Jun complained that before he would receive at least 1 order a day. Lucy replied, excessive greed never leads to anything good. He has enough money. June replied, it was, until yesterday. That's how much was left after paying for the apartment. But together with the remaining amount, the total comes to 17 billion just for the apartment. On top of that, he needs to buy new furniture, appliances, and pay a realtor. All the money went to housing, a mistake by the new tenant, overestimation of her finances. Lucy asked why housing was so expensive. Jun asked, how could he know? Things have always been expensive in Seoul. Nothing can be done about it. Then June joked that he wouldn't be able to buy her candy, and Lucy began to seriously think about how to get money. Lucy asked why he shouldn't become a promoter. They didn't have to wait for a new job to come along. You can go to Hephaestus and ask if he knows of any heroes who might need delivery. Jun was delighted and hugged her and praised her. Maybe she was even a genius. Then he asked how they could get to Olympus. He teleported there when he was given an order. The Vaughn Guild had gathered on the roof, 45 hunters in total, and were waiting for Sam. And then Sam came and said that today they would go to the beach in order to deal with the new portal. He wants them to forget their previous failures and bring glory to the guild once again. In the helicopter, Sam asked Irene if she was sure that guy was now her neighbor. Irene replied that she could not find out for sure whether he had moved in, but he had clearly visited the apartment. Sam's team searched every corner to find him, and he ended up right under Irene's nose. Now it won't be difficult to find it. You just need to focus on the portal. Irene thought that it was he who had defeated the boss. She hoped that she would be able to catch him in battle one day. June came to Hephaestus and called him, and then Lucy remembered that one cannot come without an invitation. She said that they had better leave. If they disturbed the mythical ones, they would be punished. June said they were already there. Lucy said it was terribly disrespectful. Then June remembered how she called Pharaoh an old woman. Suddenly, Hephaestus came and said that he didn't order the delivery, which is what brought them here. Jun said, here's the thing. He has a favor to ask of him. They thought it would be rude to come empty-handed. So he brought him some soju. June remembered that he liked beer, so he brought that to try too. Hephaestus accepted the gift and asked what June wanted. June replied that he wanted to ask if he could introduce him to the gods. Those interested in delivery, Hephaestus said he has someone in mind, but it will probably be dangerous. Jun said confidently that he promised to brag at every opportunity. There is nothing more dangerous than poverty, so Hephaestus teleported him. Jun complained that he was raised without giving any explanation. Suddenly, a danger notification came. A huge monster appeared in front of Jun, but suddenly someone shot at this monster. Thus, June remained alive. Lucy ran to him and said that he was almost turned into a pancake. What a sight! Olympus boars are known for their ferocity, and Jun killed him with one blow. June said he didn't kill him. Then the centaur appeared and said he didn't know there were people and nymphs here. A notification arrived about arriving at the destination, which means Hephaestus sent him to him. Lucy said she thought she knew him. Achilles the war hero, Jason the leader of the Argonauts, and the greatest warrior Hercules. And this is Chiron, the mentor of all these great heroes. Chiron got angry when he heard the name of Hercules. He asked if they knew what he had gone through because of that idiot. June reported that Hephaestus had sent them, and they had come with a delivery. Already at Chiron's house, he thought that Hephaestus, as a rule, does not mention him in the presence of just anyone. No matter how you look at it, he is by no means a hero, and nymph is with him. Even the most famous heroes can hardly boast of friendship with nymphs, much less having them as their companions on their travels. June asked why the goat man was so suspicious. Lucy said that it seemed like he had a vulnerable soul. Chiron decided to trust them, and asked if they could deliver whatever he wanted. He decided to test Jun. He told him to go to the cave. There he would find a giant cave, and let him collect the saliva of the lazy oaf who sleeps in it. June thought he wanted him to collect some saliva in a jar and bring it to him. He said he hoped they didn't have to literally collect saliva from their mouths. Chiron replied, no, exactly directly. He has objections. June took the order and ran into the forest. Chiron laughed and said, this idiot didn't even ask what dangers awaited him. It's a simple test that will show whether he can be trusted if he comes out of the forest alive. He will have to cross rocky, snow-capped mountains that no human can pass through. If he is a talker, one look at these mountains will make him give up. But then June used the suit and flew up, which amazed Chiron. Jun was already quite used to this suit. At this speed, they would soon reach the cave. Destination reached. Suit reboot time 32 seconds. Lucy said she felt dizzy. June asked her to pull herself together. They have already descended deep into the cave, but he does not see anyone sleeping here. Lucy suddenly screamed, and June said that she was confusing him. It was just a couple of drops from the ceiling. He thought she saw a monster in horror. A bunch of huge snakes appeared in front of him. Jun seemed to have gone crazy, and said that it looked like he wouldn't have to worry about the lack of saliva. Chiron came for June and complained about where the bastard had gone. He is just a man. Even with his abilities, he cannot climb the mountain. But seeing the dent, Chiron became angry and asked if he had really entered the cave. June was not allowed to enter the cave because there were immortal monsters there. June and Lucy hid, and it seems that this monster is sleeping now, so he did not notice them. Lucy said it was a hydra. What did Chiron entrust to him? June answered. How was he supposed to know that? With Hades' helmet, he could still do something, but he had to go without it. Then a notification appeared, offering Juna to use the VAR service. For 50 million won just for carrying the goods, he bought the helmet for 800 coins. He had no choice now, and he moved his helmet for a fortune. Lucy said he couldn't go there, June replied, and he knew it himself. Then Lucy said that even the gods of Olympus were afraid of her deadly poison. She tried to stop him, saying that this time everything was different from that Sphinx. But June told her to wait at the exit. Lucy got angry and flew away. June started making the delivery. He complained that the snake could sleep normally, but it just stared. It's better not to touch it, otherwise something terrible will happen. And why did Chiron need saliva? He collected enough and said just try to give him a small tip for the delivery. Suddenly an earthquake started and June broke the jar, and what's worse, he touched the snake's eye. So the snakes woke up. But he's wearing a helmet. He just has to hide the fact that he's here. But then someone asked who he was. The smell of ghosts of hell with flayed skin. The voice said that Jun should not be afraid. This wonderful helmet that hides him belongs to Hades. Why did he come here and so far and swim across the river Styx? Jun thought that if he told her the truth, she would kill him immediately. Suddenly the snakes started arguing with each other. One of them said that maybe Hades sent him. The voice asked why he was silent, and it was not because of some nonsense that he woke her up. June took off his helmet and said to send greetings from the abyss. Apparently he said the first thing that came to mind. The voice asked, so it was Chiron who sent it. June became even more scared, and said that apparently he had not been able to contact her. That's why he asked me to say hello, the girl said. This little guy is interested in how his older sister is doing. She has lived for so many millennia, and for the first time she sees something like this. She asked how he is doing. At this time, Lucy was crying and scolding June for not listening to her. She was looking for help and ran into Chiron. He asked why she was the only one there. Lucy said that June went to the Hydra, Chiron said discontentedly. So he finally got to the Hydra. Then Lucy said that they needed to help him quickly. Chiron replied that even he couldn't cope with Hydra, but he still decided to help Jun. He couldn't allow the kid to die because of him. Hydra said, It seems like the guy was surprised by her appearance. After she was sealed here, she can't return to her appearance. Even her brother had never seen her like this, so he didn't know who June was thinking she was talking about. How is her little brother doing? She couldn't contact him, so she was worried. June said that Cerberus eats 3 times a day and gets paid. He is very happy with his profession. And since he had already said hello, it was time for him to go. Jun thought that if he stayed, he might be caught in a lie. But then Hydra stopped him and said that since he came at his brother's request, she couldn't let him go just like that. The girl turned around and told Jun that he could take his gift. There is a scale in the middle of his back that shines. He can pull it out and take it for himself. Her scales contain a dangerous power that will definitely come in handy for him. Jun decided that he had no reason to refuse, and Jun began to tear off the scales. He couldn't get the scales off, so he used the suit and finally got them out. Hydra praised him, then asked if he was too greedy. She didn't think he had his eye on her. Jun quickly stood up and apologized for the misunderstanding, just as Chiron arrived. Chiron thought that Jun was able to defeat the Hydra itself. In his mind, Jun was a hero. Lucy flew to him and said how good it was that he was alive. Jun repeated that it was dangerous here and she should wait for him outside. Chiron wondered if a man could really defeat the Hydra. Even Hercules had a hard time dealing with it. Jun apologized to Hydra for the noise they made. She replied that everything was fine and asked if this was his nymph. The guy replied that she was just a neighbor or sister, Hydra said. How unusual. Then she greeted Chiron. She said that he had grown old, and that time really did not spare even the immortals. Or maybe it was her poison that had affected him. Jun asked what had happened between them. Lucy said it was the famous story of Hercules, the Hydra's poisoned arrow, and the death of Chiron. It was an accident. No, it was retribution for Chiron raising a monster. Zeus asked, Chiron asks to take away from him the immortality that he gave him. Chiron replied that he could no longer bear this torment, and Zeus agreed. Considering that he raised so many heroes, he will give him a constellation. He cannot die. Thus ended his life as a sage, and he became a deity who ruled the constellation Sagittarius. Hydra said that the poison kills anyone. Chiron is probably holding on thanks to the constellation. Chiron said she still has the same nasty snake tongue. Maybe he should cut it off. Hydra said that he had a nasty tongue, but before he was such a gentle man. Jun looked at Hydra, and Lucy covered his eyes so he wouldn't stare. Hydra said, but Jun needed her saliva at Chiron's request. Jun asked if she knew everything from the beginning. Hydra replied that he smelled like Chiron. Hydra said Chiron could take it. Chiron asked what she was up to. Hydra said that she wasn't the one who poisoned him. And Hercules, she was waiting all this time for Chiron to come for the antidote. Chiron opened the bottle and drank it all. Suddenly he became paralyzed and Chiron burst into tears. His legs returned to their previous